I did say before kickoff, probably both managers would have possibly taken a draw out of this game. But you know what? After Chelsea went a man down early doors in this game, this becomes a better draw for Chelsea than it does Arsenal Football Club. 1-1 on the night at Stamford Bridge. Rob Sanchez given player of the match on SofaScore. Reece James, my man of the match. But a really impressive performance from the 10 men of Chelsea that still posed a great threat to Arsenal. And Chelsea fans should be the happier of the two, because of course Chelsea went ahead in this game despite being a man down, conceded a header to Mikel Merino, one of the best headers in Europe, gave him far too much space actually. But I'm actually really pleased. I'm really pleased with the performance. I'm really happy for certain players. And very frustrated, of course, we've continued the narrative of red cards this season. Of course, it had to be Caicedo after all the build-up of Rice versus Caicedo. I figured one of them would score a goal to, to sort of be a real big factor in that narrative. But no, instead it was a red card. Of course, it was a ruddy red card because of Chelsea this season. But ultimately, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I feel like Chelsea's our form's generally very good. And Arsenal are the best team in the Premier League at the moment. For them to come to our gaff with players returning from injury, and for let's have it right, the most important player in our team to be sent off. So to go a man down is one thing, but to have your most important player to be that player that has to vacate the field. If you could choose a player to be sent off, maybe you'd choose I don't know, maybe in the Stevau. He's an amazing talent, but he's a kid. This game's not about so much talent and expressing yourself in spaces. This is about digging in and fighting. Maybe you say, okay, Stevau, we'll sacrifice you, but we'll keep Caicedo on. Caicedo's our most important player. To have him come off early, in the first half, is such a huge contributing factor. And we were the better team, I'd say, before that dismissal. Anyway, welcome back to Football Therapy, guys. We're going to talk about the game. The final day of November, Sunday, the London Derby. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, as always, for supporting the content, mate. Very appreciated. You can drop a like and subscribe and all that nice stuff. I do appreciate it. Let's get into it. Of course, we're going to look at SofaScore at the moment, just for reference point. Just, the build-up to this, of course, is Arsenal are 6 points clear. Of course, they remain 6 points clear. I don't consider us to be in a title race, personally, but this was, the narrative. Man City, of course, sit above us now by 1 point in second, with 25, 5 points behind Arsenal as leaders. The main sour point of this, because in isolation, if you look at, Chelsea, where Chelsea are, this really young team, the youngest team in the Premier League, versus Arsenal, Arteta's a more experienced team that he's in the 7th year of development with this side. They're playing really well. They're seasoned. They've sort of peaked to this point. All things they've invested in certain senior players to help them, like Eze late 20s, Gyökeres late 20s. All these things considered, this game in isolation going down to 10 men is probably a really positive performance / okay result. But the stinger is, of course, that Chelsea have got a really poor form against Arsenal for a long time now. Going back comfortably into the Abramovich era as well. It's really poor. I think the last season we truly dominated Arsenal. Continued narrative was Mourinho's collapse season 2015, when we still did the double over them. I don't think we. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Was that the last time we did the double over Arsenal 10 years ago? I'm not entirely sure. I know, Thomas Tuchel beat Arsenal a 2-0 in his reign, but the sort of times when we used to just bully and dominate Arsenal, feels like that time is done, personally. So yeah, that's the stinger. When there's a continued recurring narrative, it's what makes it worse, right? It's like going away to Old Trafford, a really poor, Man United team, certainly at the time before they found a little bit of form. We obviously got to go there and beat them. We've not won at Old Trafford for 1,000 years. And then Rob Sanchez, of course, gets sent off. But we'll speak about Rob Sanchez, man. He's doing his Cucurella arc. We'll certainly speak about that. So that's kind of the main stinger. It's more the fact how it's another not win against Arsenal. So Mikel Arteta, in his 7 trips to Chelsea. Shows you how long he's been at Arsenal now. He's got 4 draws and 3 wins. So he's undefeated at Stamford Bridge. That's pretty yucky, man. That is not what you want, mate. So that is very, very disappointing. Anyway, let's take a look at this, right? So this is the setup. It's a 4-3-3 from Arsenal. Mikel Merino playing striker, flanked by Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. Pretty strong, really, because it's a sort of 4-2-3-1. Is Eze in the free role? Yeah, so Eze is like the 10. There's like a kind of double E pivot, although Rice is like a left. Yeah, Rice is kind of like CDM here. It's a double pivot of Zubamendi and Rice. No big talking point was no Saliba, so they are without both Saliba and, of course, the long-term absentee Gabriel. So it was Calafiori, Ikapi, Mosquera, and Yuri Timber. All 3 of those back 4 we got on a yellow, and Miles Lewis-Skelly comes in at half-time. He also gets on a yellow. Zubamendi is on a yellow. So for all the frustration of Caicedo getting dismissed, and indeed Cucurella getting an early booking, who of course plays very aggressively, it's loads of Arsenal bookings. 5 Arsenal bookings. 6 actually, because Gyökeres got booked off the bench, didn't he, for like putting in a challenge on Rob Sanchez in goal. But we lined up like this, of course. Sanchez in goal. He went pretty Barcelona-y, apart from putting Pedro Neto on the left and bringing back in Joao Pedro. So Estevao got his start. Enzo Fernandez playing in the 10. Keeping Reece James next to Caicedo, which I must say is a formidable midfield. I know Robert Sanchez got player of the match on SofaScore, but I haven't checked what Sky Sports gave a player of the match to. But I would give it to Reece James. I might just check very quickly. I tried to just check on social media, couldn't find it. But I mean, for me, it's Reece James. As you can see me on X, I've typed in MOTM. Didn't get it. Back onto this then. So we played with Gusto and Cucurella as fullbacks. Wes still partnering Chalobah, playing out of position, the goal scorer, Trev Chalobah. He deserves a lot of love. Caicedo, of course, partnering Reece, and as the aforementioned front 4. I do feel a bit bad for Pedro Neto, getting these low SofaScore ratings, but actually he's doing so much running. He's offering quite a lot. I think, if you ask me who got the 7, who got the 6.4 out of him and Joao Pedro, I would definitely have it the other way around. In terms of substitutions, he only makes 2, which actually, when you're down to 10 men, is pretty interesting, of course. Cole Palmer was available again. Didn't feature in this match, probably largely down to us going down to 10 men. I actually thought a Joshua Chiampong and Andre Santos would have featured to get us over the line, but credit to Enzo Maresca. He saw his team digging in, he saw his team keeping Arsenal at bay with only 10 men, so why change it? It's good management from the Chelsea manager. If you're dealing with them, why change anything? Do you know what I mean? You're at home, the crowd's behind you. Don't make changes for change's sake. It can actually screw you up a little bit. Let's have a look at statistics then, shall we? So as you can see, pretty close in XG. Well, they generate 0.47 more, which isn't too much. So they only had 1 more big chance. Chelsea out-shooting Arsenal down to 10 men. And obviously in Arsenal committing more fouls. I mean, that is your headline here. Chelsea basically getting in a position to take more shots than Arsenal, despite being a man down from like 36 minutes or whatever it was. Pretty impressive. So in the first half, obviously, as you can imagine, a little bit even in terms of possession. The second half was all 11v10. 1 big chance apiece. And ultimately, if you go to the timeline, this will tell you basically what happened and when. As you can see on the left hand side of your page here, Zubamendi early doors booking, Cucurella early doors booking. Apart from the goal, he kept Bukayo Saka really quiet, but yes, it was great work from Saka to find Mikel Merino for the equalizer. But yeah, 3 bookings for Arsenal by the 27th minute: Calafiori, Mosquera, and Zubamendi. And of course, before the half was out, Hincapié would also be booked, which is 3 of the back 4, including their central defensive midfielder. So let's talk about the red card. It is a red card. For those people who, on my social media were saying the elbow, was it Hincapié on Trevoh Chalobah? You got a bit of a bump on the head, you got a yellow. It's not a red card for me. It's a flailing arm. It's not a red card. It's a yellow card. And the Caicedo tackle is a red card. No blue tinted nonsense from me. It's not high. It's not. He's not like looking at it. He is trying to get the ball. You can make all those defenses you want. But there was something about Caicedo. He was really fired up. I don't know if it's the whole Rice versus Caicedo nonsense. I'm not sure it is, because they were both asked about each other. And they were, rather than being like a Vieira and Keane back in the day, they were just being really nice about each other, complimenting each other. So it didn't seem like they were sort of prepping for this big battle. They were just sort of bigging each other up, which is always pretty boring, really. So I don't know why, but he did come out like on flames. One thing probably worth mentioning is Caicedo is a couple of years younger than Declan Rice. And Declan Rice, you see that sometimes. He's, how old's Declan Rice? 26. I think Caicedo's just turned 24 recently. I think so. I'm going to double check. Caicedo. He is age. Yeah, he turned 24 this month. So he turned 24 this month, and I think 26 Declan Rice. Yeah, exactly. Declan Rice turns 27 in a month's time or whatever, so he's almost 3 years older than him. So there is that sort of seniority, I think, from Declan Rice. This kind of stuff from Caicedo. Obviously, the type of player he is, he's a little bit more combative because he's a sort of proper CDM interceptor rather than a box-to-box player. But it's a shame. It's a shame because I feel bad for Moy because he's been such an important player. I'm not going to dig him out. I don't think it's, he'll learn from this, hopefully, like the rest of the Chelsea players that get red cards, the army of them that get red cards this season. It's just again and again and again, does Chelsea have a discipline problem? Does the fact how they're just all such young players factor in to why there's this sort of red card problem, yada, yada, yada. I think it's kind of... It's tricky, isn't it? Because I can sort of understand a couple of them were like bad decisions, and I don't think like this reflects on Caicedo's Chelsea career. It's just accumulative that it makes the conversation. I actually thought the discipline was pretty good otherwise. Like I said, there was a lot more fouls from Arsenal than there was to Chelsea. It's just that one was a little bit too naughty, but Chelsea had to be disciplined after that, and they were. Of course, we'll be all about Caicedo for 3 games. I did do an Instagram live stream at halftime, and I asked the people in the chat. I believe Chelsea's next games are Bournemouth, Everton, and Leeds, which actually aren't the 3 worst games in the world to miss Moises Caicedo when you can play Reece and Enzo in midfield, when we have seen Santos play CDM really well, when actually Dario Asugo has just returned to full team training. To be honest, if there was ever a time to lose Moises Caicedo for 3 games, dare I say, it might be now over these games. Of course, he can still feature in the Champions League, which will be really important as well, because we need to get up the Champions League table. So it's unfortunate, it's not the end of the world. Estevao is the sacrificial lamb at halftime for Alejandro Garnacho to come on. I kind of understand it. It means sort of more senior and trusted Pedro Neto can play the right channel and defend better, move over to his preferred native right rather than the left. And it means Alejandro Garnacho, as a runner, can play the left channel. Makes total sense, and Arteta makes a very sensible decision, taking off Calafiore on a yellow for Lewis Skelly. Calafiore was not only was he on a yellow card, but he was being a little bit feisty, so that was smart from Arteta. And then, of course, Reece James. Reece Flames assisting Trevoh Chalobah on a set piece. And I must say, at this point, it was a beautiful thing. It was still only 9 minutes into the second half, and anything could happen. But I was thinking, oh my God, if we hold on to a 1-0 lead of a set-piece goal, 10 men down against Arsenal, the poetry would be beautiful. Because, of course, I know they score a lot of open play goals, but they're so reliant on set pieces themselves. That would have been so I'm if we managed to get over the line doing that. But it was great goal. I mean, I'll talk about Trev now. I'm pretty consistent on Chalobah. I love him, but I've always said, like, in terms of my favourite profile of centre back, I kind of agree with the Wes Fofana on the right and Levi Colwill on the left long term plan as first choice. And of course, we saw Levi in the Club World Cup. I'm a big Fofana fan, of course, you guys know. And I think Colwill's probably our best centre back or our most important centre back. But Trevoh Chalobah, like, despite whatever that long-term plan, I always do. I'm consistent. He absolutely deserves his flowers. The way he's been treated, the way he's stood up. He went for a stinking run of bad form recently, but that just happens to anyone. He's playing out of position. He's playing left centre-back. I know right footers play there, like Mark Gurhey or whatever, but he's a right-sided player. He's played right centre-back, right back. Do you know what I mean? So for him to be playing out of position, and look at his, green, beautiful green. I know Wes had probably, second highest. But, great performance. He deserves his flowers. Huge goal, huge high-profile game. And I thought, he deserved to be a winner as well, just for Trev. I would have loved that. And, of course, there's changes. There is changes. Lewis Skelly gets booked, just to make sure he's doing his best Calafiori impression. Very soon after, we make the change for Delap to Joao Pedro. A goal up. 10 minutes into the second half, and I thought, this is good. Delap's going to be a pressure release valve. Arteta makes a bunch of changes. I think, he brings on Gyökeres late on, brings on Ødegaard for Zubimendi, so that is, there's really attacking changes if you look at them actually, for who they're coming off. A winger, a striker for a 10, a 10 for a CM, and a winger for a winger. So there's a lot of attacking impetus there. Noni Madueke, of course, making his return to the bridge. Got a lot of boos. Nothing too, it's what you'd expect. Didn't play very well. Probably the occasion got to him a little bit. Bukayo Saka, for the one time he gets past Kukureya, he makes it count, and he plays in Mikel Merino, who, reliably informed by the Londoners Blue podcast, CFC Central Sam, one of the best headers of the ball in Europe's top 5 leagues in terms of his statistics. Free as a bird in the box. It looked like Malagusto was marking 2 guys. So I was just thinking, what has it happened? He heads it in 1-1. And at that point, you're thinking, momentum, changes, a man up. Are we going to go and lose this game? But we don't. We see it through. Really impressive performances. So let's talk about that now. Reece James is my man of the match. I just thought he was absolutely imperious. Of course, getting the assist for the opener, or for our goal, should I say. Playing out of position, leading by example, calming people down, press resistance. He looks like, Kovacic used to just basically hold the ball and basically evade press. He's really good at that, but he's strong. He's got amazing service. He's just incredible, Reece James. He's incredible. What a player. I'm so pleased he's back and available. Everyone laughed at Maresca when he says, when I see Reece, I see him as a midfielder. And obviously, we've got a Champions League winning right wing back. What are you on about, you bald fraud? But he's getting a lot of stuff right, Maresca. And to be honest, Reece James has continued to be fit, continued to be available. His hamstrings have been saved. He's not running up and down the flank. He's affecting games massively as a midfielder. So, good from Enzo Maresca. Backline, all totally fine. Very happy with them. They've obviously seen out, defended a point, a man down, and played really well. Enzo Fernandez Esteval took a lot of shots on. I like how he skied it into Rose Ed, but just his head didn't drop and he was jeering on the crowd. That's absolutely how you should react, especially when you're a kid. I thought Joao Pedro was actually quite underwhelming. I'm not sure how he snuck a 7 there, but fair play. And let's end on Rob Sanchez, player of the match here on SofaScore. Rob Sanchez, superb, absolutely Susan Perb. He was, not only did he make an excellent save when he gets down, he's so big, but he does that drop down save where his hand can hit the deck so quickly. His distribution was good. His decision making was good. He was brave when he goes in with Gyökeres at the end. Just absolutely sensational. I don't know. Sensational stuff. I keep saying that I'm open to my mind being changed about Robert Sanchez, and this is how it's done. Absolutely, genuinely, really, really impressive for multiple games now. Yeah, it's not his fault the goal went in at all. He deserves as many clean sheets as he gets at the moment, and just let him cook. Let him cook. Let him keep going. Anyway, totally fine. Really pleased with the players, apart from obviously Caicedo, but we move. I'll forgive him. He'll learn from it. And Arsenal will be happy with it because they stay 6 points clear, but it's about us, it's not about them. And we'll just get better. We're going to get better and better and better. And here's to them hopefully getting worse. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Keep it locked to the channel, and I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.